Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the rank 1 Terran in the world from Team Liquid in the red. We have Clem, facing off against his greatest rival in the rank 1 Protoss out there in the blue, the smiling assassin. It's herO. In a best of 5 Protoss versus Terran Grand Finals to the Pigosaurus Cup number 63. And before we get started, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button, maybe even subscribe. Let me count the algorithm, and Jimmy, what are we at? 1,773 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one, and I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life, but thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better, as Clem started things off with an engineering bay block, which herO seems to have summarily ignored like he does most conventional and unconventional wisdom in all of StarCraft 2. But it's that remarkable flexibility that makes him so entertaining to watch and also in-game. The Twilight Council has begun. The Adept intercepts the Reaper, which was clearly looking to see if it could dodge the Shade, but nothing's getting by herO, at least for now. That is not a statement I'm going to stick to for very long, but the Adept boxing out Reaper, trying to find an angle, but herO acutely aware of it so far, and another Adept is knocking on the door, wondering what this entire contraption is. But the Terrans, with the advanced door-based technology, able to shut it out for now. The Marines going to encourage it politely yet firmly, and also violently to leave. Reaper, another gateway on the way. Blink has begun. The Reaper wall was created by the gate in Cybercore on the high ground. There's some convenient Reaper jump locations, but it's a tag team situation. Reaper doubles back. The chase is on. There's more reinforcements coming. Another Shade comes through, and it's enough. In fact, even the camera wanted to look away from the brutal murder of a harmless Reaper in the early game, but a Hellion to follow it up. Just goes straight through, trying to check if hero's taking a third base. Maybe he can slip into the main because there's a severe lack of anything in between the natural and the third. But the Hellion, scouting Hellion for now. We'll see if it maintains it. A bunker is on the way. Clem realizing that if herO hasn't gone for a third base, it's likely his base is the one that he needs to be worried about. The bulwark in the main to box out the Blink Stalkers is starting to come together, though there's a lot of opportunities. Wherever that Reaper was jumping in also is potentially a point where the Blink Stalkers could make life difficult, or short. Couple more racks on the way. The Raven headed directly out. A bit bold considering Blink is already completed pretty much. Engineering bay as well. Clem pulling all the production together. Hellion finally gonna get taken out. I think it took one probe in between those bases. The fact that the Raven was sent directly out to do some counter damage is a bit ambitious, but par for the course with Clem. As always, looking for an opportunity to mess up your day before worrying too much about securing his. He'll throw the game into chaos and wonder why herO's doing so well with it. But still, the Adepts to the back, and the Marines are out of position. The SCVs have not been pulled. The auto-turn on the other side. Clem distracting himself. Stalkers blink by to engage the Marines directly. And herO, well, loses 4 probes, kills 2 SCVs, several of the Marines. There's also a Warp Prism here, but herO lost about 2/3 of his units before the Warp Prism could even hope to reinforce. The Raven has been put into the corner as the Stalkers will stare angrily at it. A Templar Archives is done, and I honestly don't know if he wants to rush Storm or just get a feedback on the Raven. But por qué no los dos? Why not both? Says herO, which is something odd for a Protoss to say because Protoss don't have mouths. 6 minutes. Well, give or take. With the rush to Storm, there's no way. Clem actually spotted it. Okay. He definitely saw it. The Raven must have gotten close enough. The Stalkers trying to trade, but taking quite a brutal hit from the siege tank, and now all of those Stalkers are somewhere between full and 0 HP, which is a fancy way to say they're damaged. Thank you. All right, I got the best words. Many people in the comments, very smart people, because they're in the comments, obviously, say I have incredible words. And I'm like, that's a great adjective right there. You keep that up. You're breathtaking. Which is an adverb. Only if you're being weird, though. That's an adjective. You're welcome. Jimmy, just edit that whole thing out. That means remove it. I don't... Sorry. Speaking of Patreonizing... No. Okay, now for real, though. Observers taken out. The base is getting a bit crowded. As Clem respecting those blink stalkers and building literally everything about as far away as he possibly can. herO, at only 51 probes, he definitely was focused on the aggression, and now focused anywhere else as the stalkers, 2 of them, take it out with ease. Concussive shells is now done. Should be able to blink away, but wait, there's more! A storm drop! The Templar making it rain in the mineral line, and 7 SCVs. And wait! Players, it's been like 4 months now that we've had the new Storm. Storm lasts longer, but it doesn't do quite as much damage a second. And if your Storm lasts more than 6 seconds, consult a medevac today, but so far, herO, another SCV died, I'm not sure where. An Archon just wandering up as the battle in the middle of the map. herO trying to buy some time and bait out more stims so the Storm can do more damage, but Clem, I think, getting the better end of that engagement, at least for now, right up until herO says, I just lost that fight. Let's do it again. And Clem in full retreat. Splits off a single medevac, but some of the Marauders were already too badly bruised to stim and won't be able to get away. herO, with this violence of action, that constant aggression, actually manages to turn the supply around somewhat because he's willing to do such dramatic fights. And now the Templar, a Storm on the ramp, got his own things out. Clem clearly slammed the select all army hotkey as everything's coming back. I assume the Raven got Edgar Allan Poe'd a while ago. It looks like it did. And meanwhile, the Marines undercutting. All but one. Gonna leave Big Gabe behind there. herO Marine, though the shield battery kind of making any heroic efforts mostly vain. The charge lots, pretty much everything that doesn't hit air chases the medevac into the main. The Stalkers are blinking to intercept, but the Marines have already been dropped out, which means the Stalkers themselves a bit vulnerable. Targets down the probe, and any hopes of a 4th base going to be dashed pretty quickly. Already sets up another one. Medevac boosts away past the broken mothership. Just fell into disrepair, more than likely. 3 ghosts at a time. Quite a scary composition coming out for Clem as looking to respond directly to the Archons and the Templar. And he seems to be battening down the hatches somewhat. Charge lots, Immortals, and Archons, the CIA build. Looking to come across and, well, the concave is incredible for Clem. Feedback, 1-2 on the ghosts. 0 out of 5. Tried to murder my friends. And technically me, but my friends, alright? Friendship is important. The feedback's at least negating the ghosts for now, but now that ghosts have 125 HP, feedback literally cannot kill them. Unless they're already bruised. Like, physically, not emotionally. As feedback does half a point of damage per energy. So 200 energy at the max, 100 damage. That's still a lot of damage, but not enough to pop those ghosts unless they've already been softened up. Immortals and charge lots, of course, can do a lot of that. A single Marine going to check. I'm pretty sure he confirmed this base before, but trying to figure out whether or not there's an army head along that side. You never quite know where herO's army is. It's where you least expect it. Even if you expect the unexpected, it's almost impossible. Now, why is herO's army in the middle of the map on the other side? He's going to recall some of it back all the way into the main and doesn't end up losing much. I guess you could argue that having recall means you can just put your army wherever you want. I'm sure Terran players are busy typing up their thesis about that, but I really think herO was winding up for one of those multi-pronged attacks that if any prong does damage, he can just continue to build off of. But for now, the charge slots, 1 ghost gets eviscerated as the Zealots do a casual charge by. Many of them will die. The Marauders microing well to break as many knees as possible. But most of the charge lots will survive on their way by. And a couple more a bit late to the party. +2 ground weapons about to complete for herO. +2 ground weapons or infantry weapons just started for Clem. So, he blocked it. Meanwhile, EMP wipes out the War Prism, but gets the Templar out, and a good storm means the medevacs are softened up and has to be very careful if he gets any closer. A scan in the main. Spots the Blink Stalker staring very intently. Stalking, if you would. The medevacs. herO now whipping out disruptors. As another flavor of splash damage will be joining the menagerie he currently has. We got Psystorm. We got Colossi with fully extended thermal lances. And that makes 2 of us. So, every flavor of splash damage now on the field for herO. And we'll see how much washes over the army and how much Clem is able to mitigate. But the storms, the planetary fortress is annihilated instantaneously. The Marines and Marauders are wading through the storms, but taking a lot of damage in the process. The army trying to retreat, the Vikings chasing. And it looks maybe one storm EMP'd at the last second. Several of the Colossi knocked down. And herO definitely won the start of the fight. Just toppled the planetary fortress almost instantly. But Clem was setting up for the follow-up. And in the grand scheme of things, a base itself is really not that expensive. Of course, access to the resources, or lack thereof, is kind of important. But a planetary fortress pales in comparison to the cost of, say, 3, 4, 5 Colossi and Templar. So far, herO's lost 11,000 resources to Clem's 7K. I feel like the efficiency gap will probably widen before it closes, as herO is very much the most Zerg Protoss player out there when he gets into that mindset. The tower defense, not tower defense, but almost direct strike style of Protoss. Sending out, like literally, he has Stalkers and Zealots. He's maxed out. He's like, we'll send these out. Gateway Man comes in, blinks over the top, knocks down several, snipes off a ghost. How about some Vikings? Clem, in a panic, pulled everything back, and herO's casual blink manages to pay some dividends. Even the Marines behind, 2 Zealots left behind in order to ransack the mineral line. And now so many of the SCVs dying. And Clem brings his entire army back, clearly struggling to find any initiative. And guess what? He moved out of position down the center, and here comes herO yet again. Another army rebuilt. How many robotics facilities? Just 2? Those are rookie numbers. You gotta pump those numbers up. Guardian Shield to reduce the damage. +3 ground weapons and +1 armor about to complete. But Clem cloaks and snipes out the Templar with just a single storm. And again, this army gonna have to trot away. Routed by the Bio Ball, which is rolling across the map. Where are those disruptors? Really though, like he was building disruptors at some point. Did he cancel them? They may have just wandered in and died, but nothing in the unit's lost tab. Looks like they were a misclick of some kind. A massive drop from Clem. Split off just as herO winds up for another pass. He's only got 9 gates, but he's so religious about these Zealots that his supply is staying at 200. Though he may have a bit of a problem, as 86 probes, a recall, before Clem can EMP, the recall seems to take so long when you're really needed. But just in time, Clem takes out the Nexus, and the Blink Stalker's trying to chase. 1 ghost left behind, but Clem is battening down the hatches and retreating into his shell. As herO, Clem doesn't know. There could be bases anywhere, or potentially everywhere. herO has lost 19k to 12k. EMPs washes over some of the Templar. The Storm gonna clip more of the Protoss army than it does the Terrans for now. A couple more Storms in reserve. 5 Colossi stepping over the top. But the Vikings so far, historically and practically countered by Storm, but there's a lot of Stalkers, and herO is incredibly and possibly recklessly willing to use them. 7 Vikings against 6 Colossi does not feel like a particularly fair fight for those Vikings. And those ghosts are light units now. So, a lot easier for the thermal lances to incinerate them. The planetary being repaired by almost a dozen SCVs. But herO does not commit. +3 infantry weapons is now done for Clem. +2 armor is completed as well, giving him an upgrade advantage. herO up to 11 gates. And he's continually maxed out. He's sent 69 zealots so far into the fray, which is a nice start. But it won't end there. herO shows no signs of doing anything but grabbing the rest of the map and sending it down the middle, which, you know, I think is the most popular game mode in some other sorts of games as well. 3 Nexi in production, joining the 6 already on the field. Clem does have a 5th base, as his main base is completely dried up. The Natural's mining out. The 3rd base is looking pretty thin. The Storms to zone out the Vikings, and the Planetary is holding. herO multiple times has broken upon planetary fortresses and come back and broke it again. More broken than the title of this video, or maybe the videos before it. Who knows which ones? Most of them, really, at this point. Well, if you would stop clicking on them. We'll do meta discussion later, Jimmy. The Vikings. Storms, autumn colors on the Vikings. But, again, another planetary fortress and another very tough angle for herO to get. A fusion core is on the way. And a significant choice. Because herO does not have a Stargate, nor a fleet beacon, obviously. He does not have the late game air transition. He has this army, and he's gonna have it several more times over. He has lost 26,000 resources to 15,000, including double the Vespine gas, 7k to 3k, almost an entire base. But Clem, looking the other way for a moment, loses several ghosts at the start of the fight. You can hear them from their dramatic death scream. Ghosts in StarCraft have such a dramatic death screen that people are still complaining after their game got canceled. Could have landed that joke better. But the Vikings, still in the sky. Disruptors are mixed in now, finally. Fires off a volley. The Zealots just stand there and take it. herO on 9 bases. Every base on the map is taken. Not necessarily being mined from efficiently or otherwise. But cannons coming online. One way to complement your supply, as cannons do not take any. But dealing with the Bioball, he EMPs the Nexus, so a recall can't happen. Another base! He tried to land the command center, but there were already cannons in a Nexus there. Because of course there were. More Vikings knocked out of the sky as herO dancing down the center. But Clem, huge commit. Huge. Very large is what that means. And then, well, this is happening. Recall is available, but instead, herO's just going to hit the left side because Clem is clearly committed heavily on the right. SCV's pulled. I love the positioning of that missile turret to make it that much harder for the charge slots to get around. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he did it on purpose. This base, going to be wiped out. Recall, irrelevant at this stage. And Clem already putting together the Sim City. Vikings, the Colossus, the last Colossus will be toppled. Another double barrel disruptor blast. Clips some of the army. Another fadeaway shot. But meanwhile, the ghosts are sniping the Templar. The bio is dodging, ducking, dipping, diving, and dodging away from the disruptors. And where's the second half of the double Ds of destruction? Where the Dark Templar to try to overwhelm these bases? herO has not broken a base for like 10 minutes almost now. He's attempted several times on these planetaries, but the Zealots just do not stand up at all. The Marauders in front with the charge lots, well, did he recall? He recalled some of the army to the bottom right corner. The Disruptors are dangerous, but technically don't one-shot any of this. Fires another shot. Clem picks up to get away from the ones that did survive. Meanwhile, EMP, several more ghosts dead. Vikings, no, the Colossus! The pathfinding clearly a bit lacking. as the Colossus caught on the wrong side of history. A storm to ward away the chase. But Clem holding. And herO is looking less and less capable of finding an opportunity as he keeps running into the planetaries, and the planetaries are fighting back even harder. A ghost, a cloaked ghost. How many observers? 0. That's not very many. Liberators being added into the composition. He already has Caduceus Reactor for energy regen on the Medivacs, and Advanced Ballistics for long-range liberation. Fadeaway disruptor shots will mildly inconvenience some of this. More zealots to the left side. herO has lost 122, which actually seems kind of low. He's lost 40,000 resources to 21. Almost exactly double the minerals and double the gas. But that disruptor makes even more of the army uncomfortable. But herO, he's not added in the Dark Templar. He's not added in the Sky Toss. He still has 85 probes, which means his army is just... it doesn't have the girth to compete. The splash damage washes up against the Medivacs of the Bio, and the Bio weathers it. The Medivacs will heal through. If you don't kill a unit, they live. And I know that sounded dumb, but when it comes to killing the Terran army, every unit that gets to half HP and gets healed back up, you might as well have wasted what you have, as these Medivacs are not going to run out of energy. Caduceus Reactor is possibly, at this point, the most whelming upgrade, as players have realized that double energy regen is incredible. The Planetary, some stop position on the SCVs. The Planetary is buying so much time here. The Liberator's on the side, but eventually herO breaks through. Another force in the bottom right corner. This Nexus falling before herO can do anything about it. He's committed to the base trade. More Liberators, half a dozen at a time. And Clem dipping in supply because he can only produce so much at once. herO with 13 gates. The shot, the most dangerous force field, another planetary targeted. Disruptors on the corner. Blasts apart the Marauders. Meanwhile, though, the bottom right corner is gone. herO. A base for a base and an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind, which I think would favor herO in the long run, but in the short run, look at the supply. Look at the banks. Look at the resources lost. He can't take out a small loan of 1 million minerals and make it all right. There's no easy way to recover those losses without outright breaking Clem's economy and making his army pale in comparison to yours. But the Disruptor is popped at the last second. Clem stands, and he targets the Disruptor, and he trusts himself to take it out before the Disruptor can take him out. herO has run out of resources. A Venn diagram of freedom is overlapping the liberation zones. herO's managed to mine 15,000 more minerals, and he's lost 16,000 more. He's mined actually slightly less gas, which makes the fact that he's lost so much more egregious at this stage. Clem's army is worth 5,100 to just 1,900 gas. And right now, herO's running out of it, in every sense. Clem making use of those very efficient armies. The Zealots finding some more SCVs, but... so, the Liberator actually doesn't have the vision anymore. And I don't think Clem's gonna be too stingy. There's only 4 orbital commands. I think the lack of Dark Templar, even as a threat to force out scans and help with defense, I can't believe I'm saying herO, of all people, was lacking in Dark Templar. But a Shrine to Dark, come back to us, Dark, is maybe what he needed. Oh my. This Ghost has 14 kills, the Marauder has 7. There's no detection. But he uncloaks the Ghost. He didn't run out of energy. That was very sporting of him. But now herO has a smaller army in a worse position. You know? He's somehow turned that around before, but the Olympic Rings of Freedom here. The Bio army wading through the storm because there's no damage to follow it up. There's another army to the top left corner. And herO may have had the income advantage, but the army supply has been an overwhelming gap. You can work with that if you have units and economy. but he's now lacking in both. Clem has done a great job of minimizing the damage while still being able to put any pressure on. herO always plays like he's at 200 supply, but we know right now, simply is not. The main command center is floating away out to a much more lucrative base. The Dark Templar, or lack thereof. Just... herO has the same unit composition he's had for the last 15 minutes. And he's in the worst position he's been in that same amount of time. It's been a long journey, but a relatively monotonous one, like driving through Ohio. Which, and just like the end here, maybe regretting it. GG! Clem holds. herO loses 25,000 more resources. 14 Colossi. 189 Zealots. 7 Nexi. And 1 game. A tough start for the Smiling Assassin, the Mad King of Protoss. As he, at one point, had like 2/3 of all of the bases on the entire map. But you can only mine from so many. And at 86 probes. That's too much supply in probes. We've seen this before with max packs, actually. And Clem himself, also. As Clem... I feel like we gotta go through this every time, after all the fire and fury. Clem being the #1 win rate Protoss versus Terran player in the world. Because, of course, Clem does not have to play against Clem. Which, you know, would probably increase any Protoss player's win rate quite drastically, considering how much better Clem is at Terran versus Protoss than anyone else as well. Maru is a mixed bag. Maru is very good at the cheeses that even herO struggles against. But for all Clem can control that flaming sword sort of, while honestly controlling the Liberators, the Ghosts, the Vikings, and the Bio Army is like juggling flaming swords while riding on a unicycle and reciting the alphabet backwards. That's what it feels like when I'm trying to do it. But when Clem does it, it looks positively unbeatable. Or at least close. It looks like you'll never beat that army. But a couple disruptor shots. Look, really what usually happens is the Zealots, or oftentimes the Dark Templar, force the Terran to look away for a moment. Or several moments. And then the Protoss just take these... Okay, what is this? Billy? How did you do that? No, I just simply metaphysically teleported my material essence inside the command center. I thought they patched that. Well, not very well. The Terran Council... the Balance Council may have messed that one up. We probably shouldn't say this out loud. Correct? But there is actually... It was technically a bug that was supposedly fixed, but the SCVs sometimes literally being untouchable because they're inside of the building while they're building. It usually only happens right as they start it, but when it does happen, it can be infuriating. Doing their best drone cosplay there. Alright, Twilight Council's on the way. We'll see what herO breaks out in Game 2. He's already just chrono boosting probes at the natural. It is not any huge cheese. Just a very standard start so far. Though the sentry for, I assume, hallucination is an interesting. Couple more gates. What's he gonna choose? Charge is on the way. Huh. Huh. Hallucinated Phoenix. Now, ooh, the Cyclone actually went to the halfway mark to try to intercept an Adept. Clem with the correct... I don't think he saw the Hallucinated Phoenix. I think he just knows the timing so well that if an Adept didn't show up yet, it wasn't going to show up at all. I think he even was trying to intercept what he was assuming was either a proxy or a Hallucinated Phoenix, but doesn't quite get it. And herO actually manages to keep the Phoenix alive a little longer. Well, better late than never. herO breaks out the Dark Shrine. In game 2, he's gonna... I love this. He goes for the Macro-Ronian cheese. The third Nexus alongside the Dark Shrine. Relying... Okay, wait. He scouted 2 Rex. And technically he scouted no Starport as well, which means no Raven by default. Which means there's no built-in detection for the Dark Templar. Which means he could just win the game. It really depends. Also, the delayed Dark Templar are sometimes more dangerous than a rush to them. This is not the quickest you can get Dark Templar. It's certainly very quick. But... in the SCV scene, the third is not necessarily a giveaway. In fact, this might work against Clem. Because who goes for a third and for the most expensive, risky tech at the same time? That was a rhetorical question, obviously. Oh, sure. We're going to go Blink. DT Blink, that is. Shadow Stride. Because they have to call it something different, I guess. Being upgraded. The charge lots. I wonder if the alarm bells will start ringing for Clem. So, if he drops mules at the wrong time, he does not have he's pulling the boys! Oh, it's a disaster. Oh, this is so good for herO. And then he loses the first Dark Templar, which makes it less good for herO. And then Clem's like, boys, all right, good drill out there. As soon as he realizes that this is DT's, pulls completely back. I think he was trying to hit a timing before Storm, but yeah, it's not Storm. That's usually the intent of pulling the boys, is to hit before they have splash damage. But now that he knows it's not a risk, herO mass expanding off the Dark Templar. He has, the problem is, he doesn't actually have any units. Well, he has probes, which are not known for being super reliable. He's about to have DT Blink. Did he mistime the Hallucinated Phoenix? +1 attack is about to complete. Damage in the main. That DT, you know, herO may have been thinking so hard about it. Ah, yes, shut the door in my face, will you? He rips it down. And now, DT's with Blink to get away. He could just slice through. Blink's 1 out of scan range. Blink's the 2nd. And there's not another scan. Oh, no. Clem might be able to delay one of the bases. But herO, he delays the 3rd command center. Did he spot that missile turret? He has to assume there's a missile turret in the mineral line. The charge lots are chasing. The emotional support field is a mixed bag here. They'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brother. Another Marauder on the run, but the Zealots run faster. And the Blink DTs are just ransacking the main. He blinks, and he gets to the corner. I'm honestly surprised Clem didn't just rage quit with that. But a 3rd command center's on the way. A Widow Mine out in front. Drags some of the damage in. Another supply depot dead. And, oh no, the add-on getting hit. Another scan at the front, but there's no DTs there. Oh, he wasted his scan. There goes a reactor. The DT just chopping its way through the main. And oh yeah, here's the rest of the army, by the way. GG from Clem. As herO, making up for every DT he didn't build in the previous game, with the most effective possible DTs in this one. herO playing 200 IQ 4D backgammon right now by losing the game, potentially because of a lack of DTs, completely shutting them out of Clem's mind, and then whipping them out at the most confusing time. It makes no sense to go Dark Templar. And 3, like, you should not be able to get away with that. But Game 3, the equalizer. A bit of a more concise game, for sure. As Clem was fully, you could tell how Clem was speaking a different language with that read. He was clearly anticipating either Templar or Colossus switch. He pulled the boys, because against charge lots and stalkers, the SCVs can tank well until there's splash damage. That's why it's such a thing. But as soon as the Dark Templar were revealed, abandoned ship, everybody goes sprinting home, but herO retook the initiative and never let go of it. So far, 2 of the most herO games, and that is his speciality, is no matter win nor lose, which I think was a sentence. He makes the game about him. Whether it's throwing away twice as many resources in an ill-fated attempt at playing direct strike in a tournament finals, or it's doing a blink DT rush with nothing else, or it's potentially murdering multiple SCVs. Does he let him out? Clem is not going to slap down. Oh my. He knows the Reaper's coming out, but playing keep away. Yeah. Well, 2 incredibly badly bruised SCVs. The probe gets away. What is this? herO with a... But it's one of those times and one of those days where I think this is for walling off against Hellions. But there's also the non-zero chance that herO forgot he was playing against Terran. So here we are. A chance he could bait it. And the Zealot is coming across. There's a Reaper just sharking around, suspecting shenanigans. And he's right to suspect them. But here comes the Zealot. It's spotted. The Adept moving to support as the Zealot can only really stoically march and angrily think at the Terrans and not actually... Oh, Clem is not going to get... Unfortunately, 1 hit away, but dodges through the command center. Here comes the Zealot, trying to help out. Might get a Marine. Okay. And another Adept. The revolving door. The constant shades that SCV will eventually die. As herO acting like... Oh, it's a Dark Shrine. Yeah. All right. Here we go again. He's like, no. I heard you, Winter. Somehow, in the past, from the future, it's like, Dark Shrine, you said. And now it's a proxy Dark Shrine, because of course it is. A bit of a different take on the entree here, but a similar potential. I can't even. This is, well, it's not odd, but Clem does have a starport, but he can't have a Raven by the time this comes across. I do wonder if the Wall-off... It looks like the Wall-off may actually come into play here. As Clem, with the medevac above and the Hellions on the ground, may attempt to run by. And there's a real chance. Oh, pulling back. Though, the Hellions are a real potential issue here. Warps in 2 more Stalkers. There's a DT coming in. The Hellions incinerated the probes of the natural. The probes pulled in the main and away from the Hellions. 3 probes body blocking. Meanwhile, Clem, does he see it? Does he see it? No! The Dark Templar gets into the main! It's a disaster! Clem has been getting so much damage done. He kills 10 probes, but it's all undercut by a single Dark Templar, just like the StarCraft 2 storyline. It's a nearly unmitigated disaster. It could be worse. He does have a Raven, but he's chasing down the first DT. He spots the Shimmer at the natural. And now, what was for a moment a massive income lead will be undercut dramatically and turned around by herO. Now, part of the reason that he took so much damage to the attack is because he went for a DT rush. But part of the reason he's now ahead is also that same DT rush. So, doubling down harder than Kentucky Fried Chicken right now, and now a Templar Archives behind it. Gonna have both strains of Templar, 2 Blink Stalkers, which is something. Oh, he's gonna pull the boys, isn't he? Yeah. I don't think Clem is gonna expect this storm quite so quick. But at this point, I don't think it's really relevant what Clem expects. It never has been, arguably. Charge is on the way. There's still... No, there's no more Dark Templar. He does have that extra gate for a proxy, which could turn into a charge lock counter as well. Arguably more dangerous as time goes on. And Storm will be fully operational by the time the medevacs arrive. Clem has once again been bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray by herO's meandering metagame. And the momentum of this game and this series, I think, has shifted dramatically for it. I keep saying it like, oh, herO's in a great position. Look at the supply! Clem at 96 to 73. But Storm could make up for a lot. And a couple warp-ins of charge lots. Protoss is a little different in how their supply works. They can go easily jump 20 supply with a single warp-in and a few probes, so it's a bit misleading seeing Terran have a supply lead so consistently, but not entirely so, as that is a lot. He's not going to pull the boys, right? No, he has a third on the way. Clem, gonna move out. The Raven out in front. The DT's living rent-free in his head right now and nowhere else so far. Only 2 of them, but they've still kind of controlled the entire game. herO, he's never going to expect it. They came from behind. A single Templar. Potential feedback on the Raven could be devastating. Oh no, Clem's looking the wrong way! And the feedback on the Raven! And surprise, it's herO! Feedbacks on the medevacs, storms on the bile, and herO cleaves through everything else on the ground. Clem will be lucky to survive with any of his air units, and his ground army gets to the high ground just barely, but another storm. Actually a bit in the way of things. The storm's gonna take out the siege tank. He wades through it. Some medevacs go down as well. And herO, just like that, turns the supply into a marginal gap. I was gonna say around. Well, not quite. Still, though, the emotional and physical damage done. As now Clem, with no energy on the medevacs, some of his bio is still bruised and hasn't been healed up. There's storms to contend with, and he has no hope of ghosts. The academy's only halfway done. The Templar One more storm and another couple dragged up. But he's sitting in the mineral line. All the SCVs, 15 more dead. The blue mineral workers bearing the brunt of it. And herO has a 4th base on the way. He finished +1 attack. Clem has no more upgrades in production. herO could recall back. There's already 4 more Templar back at home. I don't know why this one has no energy. How do you even get that? Oh, I guess he pulled it back. Clem lifts up just to move a little bit quicker across the map, but that's not enough bio. herO already has the economy. He's got 8 gates. There's only 2 Blink Stalkers. We're gonna go into something of a base trade. The Templar, they spot it. Oh, herO gets the storm. Oh no, a herO of the storm. And now the drop of doom is looking almost doomed itself. Blink Stalkers, they get 1 with all hands. herO on the 3rd base. Clem down 15 supplied. It's not getting any better. And Archon, herO, another beautiful storm. Clem, the 3rd command center lands. But the storm's on top of it. Nobody looking this direction. There's no more Templar on this side, but the drops will be cleaned up. There's nothing to stop the Prism. There's nothing to stop the Stalkers. Did I lie? I would never lie to you. It's just a delayed success. The Medevac, the Marauders. No, take them! As the Medevac tries to fly into the next game. The army out front, the EMPs whipped down and the Archon shield stripped away. And this is the best hope, but there's double Robo Colossus in production. Wait, no, that's a Stalker. I really thought that was a Templar in there, and I think herO did as well. Wait, can Clem turn this? No, there's Colossi. It's going to look a little close right up until 2 Colossi show up, and there's absolutely no answer to them. Clem has not gotten upgrades. He's barely rebuilt SCVs. He's now trying to find space. But unfortunately, the elephant is in the room with us right now, though I'm not sure who invited your mother. The Colossi are stepping tall. And I feel like the moment Clem sees them will be the last moment of this game. Because he has absolutely no answer besides 2 Gs. No. GG. herO turns it around and brings us to match point with not 1, but 2 DT rushes in a row. Oh, herO. Clem. Gonna be making balance posts straight out of 2010. You know there's a non-zero chance that Clem at like 8 years old was whining about Dark Templar Rush in 2010. I mean, pontificating at length in the Battle.net forums as, or really probably Team Liquid at that point, back when people cared enough. Now, well, Team Liquid is still relevant. Speaking of their most notorious member in the top right of Mothership, we have Clem. I realized how somewhat both ironic and a bit problematic that comparison might have been. But, and then, not even repping his team. T1, by the way. herO is the only StarCraft 2 player. So T1 had a StarCraft 2 team till about 2016. Maybe 2017, I'm not sure exactly. With a lot of the top players, though I don't believe herO was on it. And then, after the Esports World Cup, so for those who don't know, the Saudi sugar daddies who are sports washing everything, put a ton of money into the Esports World Cup, and also for the teams that are playing in it. And that is why so many teams would pick up StarCraft 2 players, because you got the same amount of points, like you get, say, just putting a number out there, you get 100 points for getting second place in StarCraft 2, and you got 100 points for second place with your whole team in Counter-Strike. So that makes individual sports more relevant. And the prizes for the teams were in the tens of millions of dollars. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is, not tier 1, I'm reflexive, but T1 picked up herO in like August, which was a month or 2 after the Esports World Cup. So they didn't just pick herO up like, maybe he'll do well. did okay. Wasn't incredible, unfortunately, in the World Cup. But they're just like, we haven't done StarCraft for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. But herO, being herO, not only in-game, but apparently in contractual negotiations, somehow convinced T1 that they should have a StarCraft 2 player for the first time in almost a decade. And he is the only player on the team, making him the best and the worst player. Same with this game and this series, though, so don't do it again. Is that a Stargate? What? No. Maybe? Yeah. I mean, yeah. herO, you're building a star thing. Wait, what? He's like, nah, never mind. Why do you have so much gas? Sentry Rush. I think he wanted to go Stargate. I am like 69% sure. But then he forgot maybe what he was doing and now is going for the 3-gate. It's such an odd choice to be going 3-gate. He may... There's a non-zero chance he just loses the... Okay, he's not going to lose to 2 Reapers and a Hellion, but... He's going to lose a lot of probes that he can't really afford... What is this herO? The absolute classic herO. Not to be confused with the herO Classic. Wait, which is the finals to RSO. Moving on. 4 probes dead. I've been doing too well, so let's do a build that's completely so far off the beaten path that I fell off a cliff. He's so consistent. Goes to match point, and then, well, the people paid for 5 games with their likes and subscribes. I'm gonna give them 5 games. And it seems like a pretty likelihood. That sentence was as good as herO's build right now. Yeah, this is... He lost 13 probes. That is an absolute disaster. He may never financially recover from this. In fact, I think it's unlikely he ever will. He's down 5 workers, and what does he have? He doesn't even have a Twilight Council. What is this? It's nothing. He can't even blink out of the Widow Mine. Does he send up? He's sending a probe. He's got 2 probes with the army to deal with the mines. Because of course he does. But, well, here comes some adepts. A surprising amount of units, but he easily could have had blink by now if he just did a blink build instead. This is a disaster piece. Well, the probe's like, what, my sacrifice is not needed? Disappointing. Task failed successfully. herO forgot he wanted to build a Stargate and then freestyled out another game. There's gonna be 2 siege tanks for a moment till herO takes out 1, but blasts apart some more stalkers. He's using some of the siege tank damage against the Terrans. I mean, 3 more SCVs? Don't you dare build the Dark Shrine. He just finished the Twilight. He's still getting kills. This keeps going. Like, it's rolling back around to being good as Clem is... Oh, you magnificent son of a bitch. A Dark Shrine is on the way, and he's just putting it at the front like it's a pylon or a shield battery. Which, you know where you wouldn't scout for a Dark Shrine? The Adepts decide, okay, alright, they're gonna get up close and personal with the siege tank. Well, herO is failing upwards in supply. This was a terrible position, and now it's just really bad. The DTs, the Desperation Templar, 3 games in a row. You know how angry Clem would be to lose to this again? Let's bring up those TL posts that I made up entirely, but I think are not unlikely. The Dark Shrine finishes. Unfortunately, Clem is just gonna kind of see it.
We could use some help here.
Yeah, we could all use some help here. So that is less than ideal. The medevac gets taken down. The probes will suffer yet again. And somehow this game will be dragged even further, as the existence of DTs have yet again, or the potential existence, not even kinetic at this point, just the Dark Shrine being there. And there's, of course, a DT, but herO gonna give Clem the benefit of the doubt here. So even when he does his most ridiculous, I totally think that was a Proxy Stargate that he forgot about. Just edging the scan range. Fun for everyone, but maybe not the Terrans. Everyone who matters. DT blank, sure. This entire game has been herO continuing his failed all-in until it succeeds. So why not go a little bit further? Finds the sweet spot. Clem again builds a bunker in the same spot that he just got it canceled. Oh. herO. Not the best DT micro I've ever seen. Much closer to the worst, actually. This game really shouldn't have made it more than like 4 or 5 minutes, but herO has somehow dragged it there. DT blink is done. I think, see if that's yeah, come on in. Hey, you can't go in there. Well, that's unfortunate. The Marine gets a full scout. Citizen's arrest. But for like the 4th time this game, probes will have to be sacrificed. Warp Prism? Oh, he blocked in with the hallucination. The DTs again. Oh, herO. He's done it again. A DT chasing down the boy. Tactic boys are pulled. He's gonna build missile turrets with the army. And herO is dangerously close. But how do you break that? How do you break that? If he can see your army, he can shoot it. And if he can shoot it, he will kill it. That is not nearly enough. Guardian Shield, he pulls it. The probes need to come as well. Widowmine hits. Force Field is optimistic. A dozen SCVs dead, but most of them pulled to the front line. herO has 1 sentry, 4 stalkers, and 2 Gs. We're going to game 5, as herO almost, for the 3rd time, and the 2nd time with Blink, the Dark Templar undercutting Clem's position. But he was already so far ahead, he could only fall to a continued lead. I was trying to come up with something more profound, but words. Well, guess where we're going? After all this, the emotional turmoil, the roller coaster, the strategy, Winter Madness. Could be the title of this video. Is definitely the title of the map. herO sends out a probe at the 0-second mark. Where are we going? He gets in. Clem slaps down the barracks out of his ethereal backpack just in time. Can we get 4? He spent the rest of the series making up for the lack of Dark Templar on Tourmaline. And it's gone... I feel so vindicated, which is not hard for me to do. I'm very good at stretching the mental flexibility there, but... that DTs, clearly... Now, DTs in the extreme late game are very different than DTs when the unit count is in the single digits. But the effect is similar, of shoving the game into a different position and potentially jostling them out of theirs enough to find an opening. That is herO's speciality, all right? As we've seen time and time again. If Clem is able to execute a relatively standard build or use a relatively standard unit combo, and if Clem's using it, it is standard. So that's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But he's too good, all right? He's the source of many uneducated and mildly educated complaints in the comments. But herO. Game 5. Like and subscribe. I thought it rhymed. But I'm just here so I don't get fined. Does that actually block? Can you block that with a... There's no way that actually blocks. It's just a spotter, a Spylon over there. The probe evaded detection. Meanwhile, a second Reaper hunting for where that probe could have gone. And you know, after all this, I do not blame Clem for scouring the map. Unfortunately, the probe... well, even more unfortunately, the Hellion comes out in time. Really? He's gonna run away a little bit further. A little surprised he didn't slap down a pylon there just out of spite, but just keep him thinking. The bulwark is coming together, clearly leaving a gap even for the add-ons. Though Blink Stalkers have been less than impactful since game 1. Blink is on the way. Alien surprisingly tanky when faced with the Stalkers. Gonna be a casual Widowmine drop out of Clem. Don't think we've actually seen this. We may have seen the flavor, but he usually ends up having to put the Widowmine somewhere defensive rather than using it aggressively, as herO has a tendency to force the issue. Medevac. That single Widowmine. herO anticipating the attempt here. Right at around 420, you can expect a Medevac to become blazing into your mineral line. Unfortunately, didn't anticipate quite correctly, and now herO is forced off the mineral line, offers up the sacrifice. Clem does not accept. Little Prairie Dog micro, retargeting, and herO just eats it directly in the face. Meanwhile, the Reaper Hellion coming around the back. Blink is not done. He gets into the main. Fool me once, and apparently he will get fooled again. And more probes will die. Just burninating across the mineral line. He has enough to invalidate the shield battery for a time, and 9 probes dead. It's a mild disaster. At least a kerfuffle at this point. herO blinking his way across, trying to... There's now no bunkers for Clem. He does have 2 siege tanks. He could warp in a sentry for hallucination to get up to the high ground. It looks like Clem's going to try to match him on the field. Some Tactiboys are pre-pulled, but herO goes forward. Takes out one of the tanks. Absolutely no hesitation. Almost like a reflex on seeing it. And it's that knife edge, that trigger finger there, that herO has, that sometimes loses him the game and sometimes wins it. I do think he comes out ahead there. Just barely. He loses a lot of stalkers, but the fact he was able to take out a tank and a medevac completely undercut this push. Clem wanted to do like an anti-third base or just an SCV push. And he still does, but he used to too. Thing is, though, it's pretty clear. Oh, and he spots the SCVs, and this time all of the boys are sent across the map. The stalkers will chase them down. Stim is done. The boys are fighting heads up, and Clem is going forward. herO has to know that this is on its way across. In fact, the SCVs are kind of dangerous here. Undercutting everything at the front. One Immortal is done. Charge is on the way. Time is short, though, as the siege techs are closing in. The Immortal, he's gonna have to pull the probes off the line. The Immortal to the front line. The shield battery was drained too quickly. The Stalkers, think he re-energized the battery. The Stalkers are chasing on the other side, and herO collapses on the army. The Marines are trying to cut through. Some of the boys survived, but the Stalkers will draw the army apart, and it will be quartered in turn. herO loses 15 probes, but Clem 14 SCVs. And herO holds by the skin of his non-existent Protoss teeth. But wait, there's more. Another army coming across. The economies are thin, the armies are small, and the stakes are raised. It can come down to a single unit, a single moment on either side. Game 5. herO with the Blink Stalkers and the willingness to use them. Clem putting all the SCVs on the line, but building some more back at home to potentially pull them again. He's got concussive shells on the way. Oh, he blinks it to the main, but herO flubs it. He blocked. Oh, no. herO giveth and herO taketh away yet again. An Immortal coming up. herO definitely misfired on that blink. He meant to get all the Stalkers up. He had to have. Otherwise, it'd be very dumb. Meanwhile, the medevac is on the way out. He didn't see it, but could he smell it? A stench of medevac on the snowy air. Clem has a tendency to do exactly this, knowing that the faster he gets across the map, the better the chances. Even though it leaves him somewhat vulnerable. 4 Stalkers, eats a tank hit, slurps it back up with a War Prism. Meanwhile, scouting Immortal, no! Caught on the other side. Storm is only halfway done. herO rushing to Templar, but undercut by Clem's drop. What a game. What a series. Meanwhile, the boys not being pulled with this one, but realizing that herO indeed has a Templar Archives on the way. I don't think the Templar were revealed at that last attack, but they are now for sure with the Templar Archives in the middle of the main. The Warp Prism with 2 Templar inside, a couple on the ground, plenty of energy for Storm. 15 seconds out, it will be completed. And the Warp Prism! If he loses that, that's the game. Meanwhile, the Templar drop out. Storm! No! No! He loses the Prism half a second before Storm finishes. Literally 1 second. And the damage. And another moments before disaster. Literally half a second before. He drops out the Templar. He mistimes it by that much. Maybe one more chrono boost definitely would have done it. But now Clem, he arcs out. He splits. And that spread, I can't believe it's not butter. There's not enough energy for the storms he needs. And herO takes a critical blow. So close. I've never seen a definition of so close yet so far. And herO towing that line until it strangles him. herO down 20 supply. He's got Stalkers. He loses the Templar. He's got another one. Energy recharges a few seconds out. But there's already ghosts in production. A 3rd command center is completed. And it looks like the Clempire is very likely to strike back. Well, the siege tank out in front, the Widow Mines, retargets the Widow Mine, hits the Immortal. A premium target, almost as good as the Templar, but herO moved back in time. There's not quite enough energy for Storm. He's got the feedbacks, finally gets there. That one immortal putting in serious work right now, but it's alone, and it's dead. An EMP gets the Archon merge. herO, still so close. That ghost is still somehow alive. He's juggling. There's almost no energy left on the medevacs, but there's almost no units left for herO. He's still chasing across. He's got the Archon, the units. Sure, Clem has a supply lead, but a lot of those units are in production or trickling across the map. So herO has a small opportunity to turn it around. But that Warp Prism... herO giveth, and herO taketh away. If he had just waited another second, he was really trying to hit that opportunity. And he dunked it off the rim. There's only so much left. Ah! Yes, there are observers as well. It's going to be... He needs a herO. Another Prism eats an EMP. The Templar inside have energy for Storm, surely. Dodging out of the Widowmine hits. But Clem is closing in. This game has been so crazy that they're only now at 12 minutes, halfway through +1 attack. I'm exhausted. herO, also low on energy. It's not over. He still has Storms and a Prism. He still has Blink Stalkers chasing medevacs. But there's Ghosts. That one Prism to rule them all. And unfortunately, that's quite a weak point. That everything has passed through. The drop finds an opportunity to kill some more probes. herO can ill afford to lose. He's gonna go for the base trade. One last time. And unfortunately, going straight into the Vikings. Eating his own Storms is the only thing he can enjoy. And the army cuts him off. EMP washes over. Only one Storm remains. Another couple Archons. Reinforcements actually stringing this out. But with the production from the main, herO, the stream of units is drying up as Clem holds on, able to reclaim the momentum just barely. As herO went a little too far, he dug a bit too deep and too greedily. And with that, I think Clem has managed to take it all the way back. herO fights to the very end. But 3 games to 2. Team Liquid's Clem will prevail in the most epic finals I've seen in 2026, and will certainly, well, at least hopefully, be remembered for the end of the year compilation. If you haven't yet seen 2025, make sure to go check it out as well. Let me know. But I went in expecting drama, excitement, and I went out satisfied. Hopefully it made your day a little bit better as well. And if you got the means and motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing and hyping is still free, at least for now. Thank you to our meal tier patrons, bringing in those extra minerals. Big Jake, Devin, Dork, Kate, Mario, Suit, Hunt Master. Glad y'all still enjoy. And make sure to check out this video that Jimmy picked out just for you. And I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Thank you for watching. Congratulations, Clem. And stay chill.